Welcome to our explainer. Today, we are going to dig into a really profound concept from Al-Qasas 25. And believe it or not, we're going to challenge a fundamental assumption that most of us have about hardship, and it all boils down to the meaning of a single powerful word.
You know, we've all been there. You're in the middle of a storm, life gets tough, and what does everyone tell you? Just hang in there. Wait for it to pass. The whole idea is that you just have to endure it, right? But is that really the only way to look at it?
Well, what if that entire approach is just wrong? What if ease isn't the light at the end of the tunnel that you're waiting for? What if it's actually a light that's inside the tunnel with you, right there alongside the struggle? Now, that is a total paradigm shift, and it's exactly what this text proposes.
Okay, so to really get this powerful idea, we have to put on our linguistic detective hats for a minute. We're going to zoom in on one specific verse from the Quran where a single word choice completely flips our entire understanding of hardship on its head.
So this verse comes from Surah Al-Sharh. Now, you've probably heard it translated as, "After hardship comes ease." But that common translation misses a critical nuance. The original Arabic reveals a much deeper and, honestly, a much more immediate truth.
So look at this right here. This is the key. The verse deliberately uses the Arabic word ma'a, which means with or alongside. It could have used the word bada, which means after, but it didn't. And that choice is everything. It's not a small detail, it's the entire key to unlocking a totally new perspective.
So, what does this actually mean for us? It means that ease isn't some separate event that we have to wait for down the road. It's a condition that coexists with the challenge itself. It's like they're two sides of the same coin. It suggests that inside every single difficulty, there's a simultaneous source of relief, an opening, a hidden mercy that we can find if we just know how to look for it.
Okay, so if ease actually exists within hardship, the next logical question is, how do we find it? And that brings us to our next big concept, divine guidance, or as it's known in Arabic, hidayah. And as we're about to see, this is about way more than just a simple map or a set of instructions.
You see, this idea of hidayah isn't just one single thing. The text is very clear that divine guidance actually operates in two very distinct parallel forms.
This breakdown is perfect. So first up, you've got takwini guidance. The best way to think about this is like the universe's source code. It's that inherent guidance that's literally embedded in all of creation itself. It's what makes a heart beat or a plant instinctively grow towards the sun. It's universal, and you can't avoid it. And then you have tashri'i guidance. This is the legislative kind, the guidance sent through prophets and scriptures. And here's the crucial difference. Unlike the first type, this one requires a conscious choice from us. We have to choose to accept it and follow it.
Now, that whole idea of conscious choice in tashri'i guidance, well, it brings up a really fascinating question when we start to look at the concept of istighfar, which means seeking forgiveness. Because if certain figures, like prophets, are considered infallible, then why on earth would they need to seek forgiveness in the first place?
I mean, on the surface, it really does seem like a contradiction, doesn't it? If someone is divinely protected from sin, what is there to possibly be forgiven for? But the text explains that their act of seeking forgiveness is operating on a completely different, much higher level than ours.
You see, for a prophet, istighfar isn't about correcting a mistake. It's really a tool for spiritual ascent. It's about constantly seeking even greater closeness to the divine. It's a profound act of humility, acknowledging their own human limitations when faced with absolute perfection. And it's also an act of leadership. It's a way to intercede for their community and, just as importantly, to serve as the ultimate role model for everyone else to follow.
So, all of these ideas we've talked about, ease existing within hardship, the two forms of guidance, this higher level of forgiveness, they all come together and point to one foundational principle about the nature of the divine, the absolute precedence of mercy over wrath.
This statement, it is absolutely central to the entire theology we're discussing. It establishes that mercy isn't just one divine attribute among many. It's the primary foundational state. You could almost say mercy is the default setting of the universe, and wrath is the exception to the rule.
Now, it is so important to understand that the divine wrath mentioned here, the word is ghadab, is absolutely nothing like human anger. As this slide shows, it's not some emotional, irrational outburst. No, it's described as a just and logical consequence. It's a withdrawal of favor that only happens after the initial universal offer of mercy has been actively rejected.
This flow here shows the sequence perfectly.
Step 1. The process always begins with an offer of universal mercy and guidance. That's the starting point. Wrath isn't step 1. It's the final, logical consequence that follows a conscious, deliberate rejection of that initial offer.
So when you put it all together, you see that these concepts form a perfectly cohesive and logical framework. Wrath doesn't cancel out mercy. In fact, it actually affirms its importance. The very existence of wrath as a consequence is totally dependent on mercy having been offered and then refused in the first place.
And that brings us all the way back to where we started. If we truly internalize these ideas, it doesn't mean we'll never face hardship again, of course not. But it leaves us with a really powerful final question to think about. If we can truly start to believe that ease is not some future reward, but a present reality, literally intertwined with our struggles, how does that fundamentally change the way we experience every single challenge we face in our lives?